Debbie.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Why is she Black Debbie?
No, not in a bad way. It's just to tell them apart because she's black.
Racism against white people. We can't be racist against you. You guys are the racists. That's the problem, and you don't get that.
You fucking get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'm on the sidewalk. You some fucking fuck out of here. Fuck out of here, fucking. No, I listen, as long as I'm on the sidewalk, I'm good. All right. Where this fucking right here? You know where my fucking lawyer is? You know where my fuck you. Suck my dick. 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 Suck my dick.
You can give him a
How about that? Suck my dick. Suck my dick. Black people can't be racist. Black people can't be racist. Get the fuck out of here. Suck my dick. Fuck it, let me get this straight. I'm talking about the fucking cops. That's what I'm talking about. The cops are not our friends. You understand? I want to get that clear because he walked by and said, yo, you're us racist. Black people cannot be racist. We can be prejudiced to prejudge something, but we cannot be racist. These motherfuckers are racist.
Racism presupposes the ability to control a significant segment of the population economically, politically, and socially by imposing law, covenant, and restriction on their lives. Black people ain't had no capacity to do that. Can we be bigoted? Yes. Can we be prejudiced? Yes. Racist? No. The unintelligence of the formulation is problematic when any black person says that.
Your little show?
What about my show?
The show is racist.
Black people can't be racist. Prejudice, yes, but not racist. Racism describes a system of disadvantage based on race. Black people can't be racist since we don't stand to benefit from such a system.
That I'm racist? Well, that's very funny. I can't be racist by definition. Look that up in the white folks dictionary. How can I be racist? I've never told anyone where to live. I've never told anyone what kind of jobs to have. I've never kept anyone from going to a school, out of a restaurant, or drinking from a fountain. I've never lynched anybody. So how can I be racist? How can I be racist? By definition, I can't be racist. I can't be, by definition. Look up the definition of racism.
Since there are multiple dictionary definitions for the term racism, let's try to cover all the bases. One definition, simply enough, states that it's the belief that some races of people are better than others. Another, rather simple definition is race-based prejudice or discrimination, which relates to the definition poor treatment of or violence against people because of their race. A more interesting definition is a belief that race is the primary determinant of human traits, but perhaps the most popular definition is the hatred or intolerance of another race or races, which is to say, hate based on race. There's nothing to suggest that these definitions do not apply universally.
If you want to understand racism, you need to talk sociology. And sociology explains racism as a combination of prejudice and power. Well, isn't that just convenient? Let's just ignore what the dictionary says. No, we're not ignoring the dictionary, just going a little deeper. Racism isn't just about individuals, it's about institutional power. Racial prejudice is not cool, but when a person of color discriminates or stereotypes a white person because of their race, in the United States, they don't have the institutional power to back them up and say that those feelings are okay. Institutions are things like schools, government, the military, corporations, and our justice system. All of these things shape how people of color are treated as a group and as individuals.
The prejudice plus power paradigm is the foundation for this argument. Power, however, is a tricky thing to measure. There isn't really a tried and true way of quantifying it. So if the day should ever come in the United States that black people have more power than white people, how would we know? For now, let's just imagine that there is a way to measure it, and that black Americans would, one day in the future, have more institutional power than white Americans. If that happens, what happens to this argument? Does it flip-flop? Now white people can't be racist towards black people? That would make sense if the gist is prejudice plus power, but one could always appeal to the past and cite how black people used to have very little to no power, and since history doesn't change, does that mean this argument can never change, regardless of which race currently has the most power? Power can always shift, so it would be helpful if we set these records straight. Another question worth asking is, under whose authority do we have to accept this meaning in the first place? Those who make this argument insist that the dictionary does not epitomize the true meaning of racism. Okay, fair enough. We're all entitled to question dictionary definitions, but we're also entitled to endorse them. The argument goes that black people can't be racist as individuals because black people can't be racist via institutions. Racism can be discussed in either one of these contexts, but they are nonetheless two different contexts. Sociologists, the same people who are apparently responsible for the prejudice plus power model, agree that racism as an ideology exists both at an institutional level and at an individual level. Sociology draws a distinction between the two. But this argument doesn't. The only way it works is if you conflate the two, and failing to differentiate between different contexts is not a very responsible nor intelligent thing to do. This is not to say that these two never overlap, they do, but treating them as one and the same is not reasonable. We wouldn't conflate institutions and individuals on the subject of religion or activism, so why would we lump them together when it comes to racism? Context is vital to communicating effectively. Once you start muddying those waters, it isn't long before you encounter the inevitable failure of communication. To give you an example of what that might look like, imagine a black individual exclaims, "White people are evil, and I hate them all." A white individual walks up and says, "That's racist." And the black individual responds with, "What else? Black people can't be racist." Now, in what context were these statements made? What's the meaning behind them? Well, the meaning behind the black individual statement is, my race doesn't have the institutional power to enact racial prejudice. And the meaning behind the white individual statement is, you are preaching intolerance towards individuals based on their race. Once you remove all uses of the word racist and replace it with their arguments in their proper context, you quickly begin to realize that these two they're really not talking to each other. The white individual's reasons for calling the black individual a racist have nothing to do with systemic or institutional anything. Nevertheless, the black individual is disagreeing strictly on that basis. This is what happens when you blow off context. People end up talking over each other's heads. As far as racism in the context of individuals goes, well, it sure would be dandy if anyone who said or did anything racist could be called racist. That would appear to be a good place to start, because judging an individual based on nothing other than their race is still bigoted.
Institutions are things like schools, government.
Mayor Henyard's charity, funded by taxpayer money, which is reported not even to be in good standing.
A South suburban politician spends taxpayer dollars on a march to Springfield to promote her personal charity.
So last fall, Henyard did something that would seemingly generate some good publicity, helping establish the Tiffany Henyard Cares Foundation to help breast cancer patients. And on the very day the charity was chartered, it received a huge donation, $10,000, from the Thornton Township Board, which Henyard presides over.
So even if we want to use the definition that the woke left wants to only address when talking about racism, which is the institutional power, here we have a mayor of a city named Dalton in Illinois who is using taxpayer money to fund her charities. So this is a perfect example of a black person who has institutional power, using that power to do something that's not socially or morally accepted.
I do not handle anything as relates to with credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting about, I do not handle that.
Some of those charges are for you, though.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other questions?
We see that one mayor has the institutional power to be corrupt. Then we can see that there are other mayors, black mayors, that run the largest cities in the United States. And they also have the power to be corrupt or do something that's wrong, like racism. So they can use their power to be racist. So even if we use the definition that the woke left uses, which is prejudice plus power, we know that's incorrect because black people can be prejudiced and black people do have power, and they can combine those two to be systemically racist. So this is just completely wrong, and we need to start addressing this false premise that is constantly being pushed out there and giving people the right to be racist. And not only are there many black mayors out there, we have black police chiefs all over the place. We have black moguls that own corporations. All types of power within the black community that can be used to wield racism.
Institutions are things like schools, government, the military, corporations.
And to go even further, we have a black vice president, actually half black, and we've had a half black president, which raises another dilemma with this premise that black people can't be racist. What if they're half black? Can they only be half racist?
Can black people be racist? Of course they can. Anyone can be racist.
Yes, they can be racist.
Not racist, but like maybe we can be stereotypical.
Anybody is racist. Like anybody in the world could be racist. It don't matter black or white. It's just if you don't have the knowledge, you racist. Like you judge people, you fucking racist. Just chill out.
They can be very racist sometimes because, like some of my friends, they just say they stereotype like Spanish people and white people. They can be because we're stereotypical too.
I think everybody has their own stereotypes and prejudice, and regardless of race, even black people can be racist.
We're the most racist.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because sometimes we don't even like our own kind.
Institutions are things like schools.
In the past 6 years, Project Baltimore has spoken to a number of parents like Harrison, reporting extensively on city schools, falsifying report cards. We've exposed grades that were not earned, attendance for students who were not there, and now, apparently, service learning hours. Our investigations even caught the attention of Maryland's Inspector General for Education.
If you're setting them up for failure, this is a way of doing it.
In 2022, the IG released a report finding that over a 4-year period, city schools changed at least 12,500 failing grades to passing when there was no evidence the students earned the passing grade.
I'm doing well. Can we just talk to you on your way out?
City schools leadership will not grant Project Baltimore an interview to discuss the falsification of report cards. So at a recent event, we took Harrison's concerns to school CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises.
What safeguards are in place to ensure that service learning hours are awarded
We are
properly?
more than happy to answer that. We've got a team on that. More than happy. If you want to reach out with that question, we can get some folks to talk to you.
But does it concern you that there's a mother who says that her son is getting service learning hours towards graduation that he didn't earn?
Chris, we have so many questions from parents. More than happy to have them call us, just like we did with some of the other questions. So more than happy to do that. You can have that parent reach out to us, Chris. More than happy to talk to them.
She's reached out plenty of times. She's been in North Avenue's building.
But she is more than free to reach out.
African Americans are the majority in the city of Baltimore, and they actually are the vast majority on the Board of Public Schools. The Baltimore City Public Schools commissioners, from the board chairman down to the rest of the commissioners, are mostly black. Actually, there's only one white commissioner. And what they're doing in Baltimore is actually going to hurt the African American community in the long run because they're setting them up for failure. They're not giving them the proper education to make it out there in the world. And what's going to happen is you're going to have another generation or generations of uneducated, unfit members of society that are going to go off and start doing more illegal stuff. And this is just going to hurt the black community even more down the road.
So the woke left has tried to redefine racism. They say that you can't be racist to white people because they are in a position of power. So calling white people racial slurs and discriminating against them because for a job or whatever it may be is not racist in the eyes of the woke left because they are in a place of power. And that's why you see a lot of racism against white people in America right now, especially on TikTok. They don't think they're being racist. So according to this new definition, if there's like a white guy in a black country that's run by black people, like in Africa, and they're like super racist, they're actually not racist because they're not in a position of power. See how stupid that is?
And the one idea is how we are going to exterminate white people, because that, in my estimation, is the only conclusion I have come to. We have to exterminate white people off of the face of the planet to solve this problem. Now, I don't care whether you clap or not, but I'm saying to you that we need to solve this problem because they are going to kill us. And I will leave on that. So we have to just set up our own system and stop playing and get very serious and not be diverted.
Were the people that you killed, were they innocent or were they just?
Yeah, one was a Caucasian, so fuck them.
A racist sign was found near Bellingham High School, and frustrated parents want to know what's happening inside the school. WBZ's Christina Hager's live in Bellingham tonight. Christina, the school says hate has no place on its campus.
Elisa, the superintendent sent out an email this week saying he's deeply saddened and that the school staff works hard to create an environment where all students can feel like they belong. But some parents here say more needs to be done.
This is the sign that they're saying is racist. I mean, you had parents, you had faculty staff saying that we can't stand for this because only black people can be victims of hate crime. Black people are the Olympic gold medalists of victimhood, so keep it that way. These are the 2019 criminal victimization stats done by the Bureau of Justice. After Table 15 in the red there, it says there were 5.3 times as many violent incidents committed by black offenders against white victims as were committed by white offenders against black victims. Look at the raw numbers. 472,570 times a black person committed a violent felony against a white person. Keep in mind that there are over 5 times more white people than black people. And yet, and still, black people committed 5.3 times more violent incidents against white people. This is not the perception that you're getting out here in this world from the media, from BLM, black supremacists, black Hebrew Israelite out here. You would get the impression that white people are out here just attacking black people left and right, when they're the ones committing most of these fucking violent crimes. This shit is ridiculous.
He's been radicalized by corporate media. We've been sending black people the message through corporate media that you're a victim, you're oppressed, white people are the devil, and this guy bought what the media was selling. He's from Milwaukee or Waukesha, same area as the Darrell Brooks guy who was radicalized. No one should be surprised that we're creating these types of monsters because the media is basically telling you're crazy if you don't think like this guy.
Who's going to help you?
Nobody.
So who's going to help?
We're going to help ourselves.
And who do we not want to help us?
White people.
That's right.
What are you talking about? Don't touch.
History books will document the killing of George Floyd as a defining moment. Kennedy Mitchum uses one word,
racism,
to describe the root cause of what ended his life. And that word, racism, will have a revised definition on Merriam-Webster's dictionary.
I'm used to systems in power not really understanding.
Mitchum, a 22-year-old from Missouri, is behind the change. She sent an email to the editors addressing her concerns.
I asked for them to add in systemic oppression in the definition and not just have it, redefine prejudice all over again. It's in a lot of these systems you see today. It's in the healthcare field, it's in the legal systems, and it is oppression against one group of people.
Merriam-Webster's current definition highlighted prejudice due to the color of a person's skin. In an email, the Drake University graduate wrote in part, racism is prejudice combined with social and institutional power. It's a system of advantage based on skin color. After some back and forth, the editors agreed to update their version.
Have you ever experienced racism?
A lot of Karens, as they call them now, calling the police on me for just being in my own neighborhood at school.
Karen is a stereotype of white women who falsely call police on black people. Mitchum said her classmates would use the dictionary's definition of racism to discredit her truth.
It's very important to note that those experiences was a lot of implicit bias. It's not just the explicit.
We're going to be starting our rallies.
News of the change comes the same week President Trump announced he'll kick off his campaign rally in Tulsa. In 1921, Tulsa was the site of one of the worst massacres of black people in U.S. history. Trump will campaign on the holiday marked as Juneteenth. It's the same day which commemorates the end of slavery.
That's why I think it's important, if we want to move on, if we want to move forward and stop hurting individuals of color, that it's important to acknowledge those moments. It's important for all Americans to understand that racism